afternoon or 1, 2, and 2, and it's teaching day. I know I said I was gonna do this one a while ago, but I had some other things I wanted to do. Plus, I've been working like 50-hour weeks overtime. I'm exhausted. I can't even believe I'm making a video, frankly, but let's do it. And today's subject is a continuation of our special extra deck summoning thing. Wow. This will be interesting. As I said in the last episode dealing with the special summon condition monsters, episode, what was it, like, I don't know, 2 or something? And this is what, episode 6? I'm going through the special summons in order of how they came into the game as a brief history for the newer players, as well as just a kind of nice overview. It gives it kind of a logical order. I'm rambling, and honestly, if you couldn't tell by the title of the video, today's subject is those precious white cards, the Synchro Monsters. What is a Synchro Monster? It's one of these white cards. Like your fusion monsters, they find their home in the extra deck from the start of the duel, so you do not need to worry about having these in your main deck, unlike the rituals, which are the odd one out. Well, pendulums are half and half, I guess. Following the logical progression of the game, starting with fusions where we required a specific spell as well as specific materials, we dropped the spell completely and now we're just looking at materials. How does one synchro summon? Synchro summoning requires 2 types of monsters. Both of them need to have levels, which is relevant for later. A regular monster and a tuner monster. You can tell a monster is a tuner monster because it says tuner down by the little effect scroll above whatever it is. It's either its effect or its flavor text, depending on whether it's a vanilla or an effect monster. And all you need to do is add up the levels of your tuner and your non-tuner monster, and if they equal one of the monsters that are a synchro monster in your extra deck, you can send those to the graveyard as material in order to special summon your synchro monster to now your extra deck zone, or a linked zone, depending if you have a link monster on board. And that is really all there is to it to synchro summon. It's basically just addition. Synchro summoning is slightly deceiving and actually kind of how difficult it can be. Unlike some of the more future mechanics and even some of the more past mechanics, you're required to actually plan ahead a little more because you have to get monsters of specific levels on board, as well as one of them being a tuner, in order to synchro summon the required synchro monster if you're actually looking to toolbox something. Decks built to synchro summon don't have much problem modulating their levels or moving monsters from their graveyard to the field or around in order to get the required levels on board. However, in order to call up the specific synchro summon monster that you want, unless your deck is really good at making that particular level, it can be a little difficult. So synchro summoning does require a bit more knowledge of the game as well as deck building strategies, and it's a little less intuitive. So yeah, but the rewards are certainly there. Synchro monsters tend to be rather strong for their levels, as well as their effects being rather good. So all that effort and addition that you had to do in order to summon these things, you get a pretty good monster for it. What types of synchro summoning are there? Well, unlike rituals and fusions, synchro summoning is pretty much just synchro summoning. If you had to break it up, there's probably 3 categories. A regular one, synchros of synchros, and the special case. A regular one would be something like, oh, I don't know, Stardust Dragon. Stardust Dragon's a level 8, requires 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner, or more, I guess. There's nothing really weird about it. You just get those on board, add up the levels, and if it's an 8, send them to the graveyard, summon your Stardust. Easy as pie. Synchros of synchros is when you're really starting to get, you know, more into the higher tier, higher caliber play. That's where you start running into synchro monsters that require synchro monsters in order to make them, meaning you have to kind of like crawl up the ladder in order to get your even stronger boss monsters. Shooting Quasar Dragon is a great example of that, where he's actually made of 1 synchro tuner monster, so that's a synchro monster that also is a tuner, as well as 2 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. He's a synchro of a synchro of a synchro. Yeah, you should see the shenanigans you have to do to make this thing. And then there's that special case. It's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, because like I said, 50-hour work week, my research is gonna be shallow. And that special case is Ultimaya Zulkin. This thing doesn't have a level, if you notice, although its original level is always treated as 12. Now, to call this thing a Synchro Monster is a technicality because it is a white card, it is a Synchro Monster, however, you don't technically Synchro Summon it. No, you need to have a tuner and a non-tuner on the field that are both either 5 or level 6, and then send them both, and you can special summon this thing from your extra deck. So it's not technically a synchro, but they made it synchro-ish, needing a tuner and a non-tuner, but they opened it up so you can have 5s or 6s. I think that's why they just didn't bother giving it a level. Otherwise, it would have to be both 6s, which, you know, that's weird for some decks. So, it's a synchro monster, but you're not really synchro summoning it. It's a weird one. Figured I should mention it. What decks use the different types? Well, if you're looking to play a pretty basic synchro deck, how about, I don't know, zombies? Zombies have tons of really cool support. They have one of the best tuners in the game in Unizombie. It literally sets up its graveyard for you. It's really, really easy. And it has access to 6s and 8s, and if you have some shenanigans, you can play some pretty cool things like Void Ogre Dragon and Beals and things like that. If shenanigans are your game, then obviously Synchrons are your way to go. With links, you know, it does get a little awkward to use them, but with a little perseverance and some interesting text, you can still synchron to your heart's content. Level Leader is a card, most certainly. And this thing specializes making synchros of synchros of synchros. If you want to make a pretty powerful synchro monster, but you don't want to cater your entire deck to it, you could tech in the Wind Witch engine, which is a synchro of a synchro engine as well. But it's a rather small engine, it's pretty self-sufficient, doesn't burn your normal summon, and it pretty much the only thing you're ever going to go into is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. That's the thing you're ever only going to need, because this thing is busted. But you can go into other things, I suppose, but no, you're going to make Crystal Wing. And if you want to play that third case with Zulkin, you're going to have to get creative, because Lynx makes this guy kind of difficult to make. He's kind of in that same boat that Bahamut Shark is, where you only make Bahamut Shark or Zulkin in order to go into another monster and from the extra deck. So if you don't have a Link monster on board, you can't use his effects. So you gotta play some Link shenanigans in order to get him to work. But hey, Brilliant Fusion and Instant Fusion are both searchable by the Predaplan engine, and one has access to a level 5 tuner and the other one makes a level 5 non-tuner. So Zulkin with fusions, that's cool, I guess. And I'm going to add an ad hoc kind of fourth category here, and these are just my other musings for other ideas in case you want to play another synchro deck that doesn't quite fit any one of these categories because of a unique play style. You could try Psyframes for synchro summoning on your opponent's turn, or Crystons for synchro summoning on your opponent's turn. It's weird, it takes some getting used to, but you know, there's some pretty cool stuff that these things can do. But anyway guys, that was my video on synchro summoning. I hope it wasn't too rambly and weird, because like I said, I'm exhausted. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think and what you want the next video on. The next Teachy video is most likely going to be on the Xyz, but if there's a bridge video that you'd like me to talk about in the meantime before I make the Xyz video, then, you know, sure, we'll get to that too. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And remember guys, if you don't troll the meta, who will? I will see you guys next time.
Heh, clicking the subscribe button's a good move. I guess there's a first time for everything. Feel free to click on these third-rate videos from a fourth-rate YouTuber. But I don't have time for such amateurs. Come on, Mokuba, let's go get ice cream.